what's next? I mean, I know you have been working so hard on the documentary. Did we catch up in June, I think?
I think it was June is
Yeah.
when we did
And
our
but you
interview.
but then I think I was one of the earlier ones to do an interview because I see you interviewing the mayor and pretty much everybody else, big figures,
Mhm.
involved in this process. So what's the ultimate bigger release? You have so much material. You've let out
Yeah.
that important 10-minute clip. I've seen bits and pieces elsewhere. What's the process on this?
Well, when I first started, it was the goal of let's get something to the owners, see
Mm.
if it will have any effect. As we can tell, it didn't, but at least it's a memory captured for all of the fans. So that was the task number one. That one's done. We have massive amounts of footage of following fans all throughout the season, and we're following this basically until we can find a conclusion to the story. And
Got it.
so we'll be piecing it together, but it will be a full feature length film. We're working on getting some production companies and to join us and partner with us to help fund the post-production side of things, because as you know, there's a lot of licensing fees, like
It ain't
you're with
cheap.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a big thing, and being able to also, because it might not be something that MLB wants to participate in, then we have to come up with creative ways around that, make
Right.
sure there's legal involved to make sure
Right.
we're not
You got to
doing
do it the
stuff
right
wrong.
way. No, and I
Exactly.
could sense you were doing that from the very beginning. And I'll say this. I mean, people ask, why do you make all these YouTube videos? Why do you cover this so intimately? Well, number one, it's part of my job and a team I've been involved with now for multiple decades. And it's interesting to a lot of people. I also think this story is undercovered in a lot of regards as opposed to every other sports team and entity in the Bay Area. But I also feel like documenting what happens here is at least powerful from a historical standpoint, like down the road, to look back and really recount and recall what happened. I mean, I did a lot of research about the Giants' potential move to Tampa Bay, and there's just not a lot that still exists out there. The coverage was on broadcast television. It wasn't always recorded. It definitely always didn't get uploaded, so there's not much material. This stuff, I mean, from the earliest videos in April to here in November and beyond, the videos will live forever, and you can see kind of like
Yeah.
the process of it. So I guess my question is that the same reason why you chose to do a documentary? Because you felt powerful, at least in the documenting what happened side of it? I know it's your background, but there does seem like
Mhm.
there's a value in that.
Yeah, no, there definitely is a value. First and foremost, I'm an A's fan
Yeah.
and grew up an A's fan. And the fact that this happened, I figured it was something I could do, because I always looked at all these people that were doing like the state legislative stuff and going through the government side of
We're
things
not
as well.
lawyers, are we?
Yeah, I've learned more about law in the past 6 months than ever. And so, yeah, it's like all of this stuff. I felt like I couldn't do much, but I
Mm,
did know how to piece pictures together in
yes.
a sequence to tell a story. I'm like, well, I'm gonna at least throw my hat in that regard. And then Gabe Colin, who's the other co-director, he had been working on developing something and popped in around August, September that, hey, I'm going to be doing a documentary. And everyone's like, oh, did Jared's already working on something? And so we connected, and
Yeah,
he had a bunch of producers connected.
that's
I had
great.
like one producer was interested in helping me and all this footage. And it was just, we started at different points and meeting and figured, it would make sense to work together and get the story told properly. And so that's when we combined forces and figured, like, hey, this is best. The best case scenario is
Yeah.
two A's fans that grew up in the area want to tell the story, because that's what we know how to do.